This is how you make music for a theme park ride. Hi, I'm Mike. I'm a composer, music producer. I'm also the founder of Cinesamples and Museo, and I've recently stepped aside to get back into creating music for games and interactive experiences. So this channel is devoted to kind of peeling back the curtain and talking about the process of creating music for all of these cool things. This is for a new ride called Expedition Odyssey down at SeaWorld. It's a genre of ride called a flying theater ride. Now, you might have been on one of these down in Disneyland or Disney World. It's where the guests come in and they sit on these chairs that are floating in front of a giant screen. And the chairs move in accordance to what's happening on the screen, creating this sort of like thrilling experience, and you really feel like you're flying through the Arctic. Well, this one's kind of unique because they built this whole custom new technology that allows the guests to come in, load and unload on one side, while the guests on the other side are actually experiencing the ride. So it's designed by Mousetrap. Mousetrap is founded by Darren Ulmer, and he brought me in on this project to create the score for this. The creative director was Ryan Kravitz, who was in charge of creating all of the incredible cinematic footage that we see in the ride. And they flew up to the Arctic and captured this incredible flying footage through the Arctic, through the glaciers, across the water, past polar bears and walruses, and going underwater, seeing orcas, and all in their kind of natural habitat. So it's really, really neat. Here's how I made the music. So the first thing you do is you go away and you write a suite of themes. You're just gonna compose something. About 5 or 6 minutes of music, and that's what I did, is come up with a theme that would be memorable, something that we would all hopefully hum as we're leaving the ride. And once we feel like in the right direction with the music, we get the semi-locked cut from the editor. And I'm given footage that shows the scene, and it doesn't have any music, it doesn't have any sound effects. And so I tried a unique process on this. I took the music from the suite and actually temp tracked the video with my own music. So I kind of functioned as a music editor, just kind of sliding things into different spots and seeing what works best, and you kind of just use it as a playground to just throw things at the screen and see what sticks and what works. And if there's something you don't have, you just kind of write something using, you know, virtual instruments to kind of fill in the gaps and create that like cohesive, like, this is kind of what I'm thinking, everybody. What do you think? The idea is to just like, hey, whoosh, let's just throw all this stuff at the wall and see, is this the right direction? Does this even work? What's really cool about this project is we had a budget for an orchestra. You don't always get this option. And so we recorded a 64-piece orchestra for the score. My longtime friend and colleague, Noah Taylor, who is a staff sergeant in the U.S. Army, he is the chief arranger at the West Point Band. And so he has been really great in this process. And so what you got to do is you go from creating the mock-up to the paper orchestration. So everything is all written out like that, right? And you send the PDFs off to the guys in Budapest and show up for the session. And so we sat down, and the session is great. The guys do a great job of, you're able to stream it live, so you can watch the orchestra. You can talk directly to the conductor from here, from the United States. I can talk directly to them and make any tweaks and stuff like that. We had 3 hours with the orchestra, and which sounds like a lot of time, but it's not, because we had to do something called striping. This is where you record the different sections of the orchestra separately. So we start off by just getting everybody to play the piece from start to finish. You then say, okay, strings, you're gonna play alone. Let's just get all of their stuff down. And then we do brass, get them going, then create a whole pass of just the woodwinds. And you send that off to your mixer. So the mix was done by Dan Fontana, who did a great job. And all of the stems then go to John Baker, who is the venue mixer. This was fun. John actually set up a whole Pro Tools session right in one of the flying chairs. So he had this special desk that was built, that he put his monitor and his keyboard on, and he sat there, in front of this giant screen with like, I forget how many speakers, like 24 speakers or something, and listening and kind of dialing things in and making sure everything is right. And so I came in because my job is to make sure that the music is sounding right. And then you do the mix, and that was really fun because I got to bring my son with me, who is a budding creative professional in his own right. So for him to be able to sit there and see this whole experience was really fun for me, and I think he learned a lot doing that. That's kind of the process, and I'm really excited about this one though, because this is one of those things where you get to write a big symphonic score, and it's loud and it's proud and it's out there, and you don't get to do that very much anymore. It's not a common thing to write thematic scores for things, and rides and games are still places where you can write these big cinematic themes, and it's a huge joy for a music creator to be able to do that. Because I know that when I was 13 years old, sitting in Lowe's Theaters on Hempstead Turnpike in Long Island, New York, seeing Jurassic Park, and I heard that film score, I was like, what the heck is that? I didn't know what an orchestra was. I didn't know what a trumpet was. I didn't know any of this stuff. I didn't know how that stuff worked. But it started my whole journey, and like, wait a minute, there's somebody who does that for a living? You mean there's somebody who like is hired to create the music that's on this screen that millions of people will listen to it and be affected and moved in a way that I just was? Well, whatever that is, I want to do that. And so getting to do this was kind of like tapping into that 13-year-old self. And it was awesome though, because I had my 13-year-old boy there with me to go through that and do the behind the scenes. So anyway, special thanks to the guys at SeaWorld and Mousetrap and John Baker, and for bringing me in on this and trusting me on this project. And I hope that millions of people get to enjoy this ride over the next several years. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.